Oh, hi there. So I apologize in advance, but this is gonna be one of the laziest videos I put together. Mostly because there's not gonna be really any editing to it. Keep in mind I'm gonna be coughing in the middle of it, so I hope you don't mind. If not, you can. I'm gonna put like a TLDR thing in the description, or in this case, I guess it would be too long didn't watch. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do my best not to cough too much, so as not to bother whoever's watching this. But so I just finished watching the show just because. Funny enough, it was actually one of the shows that I was kind of looking forward to watching every week, just simply to see what was going on. It Objectively speaking, it's not the most impressionable show. It was interesting, but it wasn't. It didn't really leave any like interesting points here and there to be like really impressionable. Especially considering that it's just more or less a straight up romance anime. Um, the characters were endearing, but not too much to like. I guess point out as like really memorable characters, all except for one. And overall the plot was pretty all right. It's actually as realistic as you would suspect an actual like romantic story would go. But yeah, it wasn't too impressionable. But I still, for some reason, watching it, I was like kind of captivated by the characters and what they were going through, just simply because it was more of a like a realistic kind of down to earth thing, as opposed to characters being out there and like very distinct personality traits. These characters, and just because were more or less like what you'd expect in real life, save for maybe one character. I'm gonna try not to spoil too much, but basically, I would as far as my thoughts go as to whether or not to recommend the show, if I guess in all honesty, I would recommend it solely for one character, and her name is Ena Komiya, and her personality starts off as a bit quirky in the show, and I was like, yeah, like she seems a bit interesting. I might, who knows? I think she's gonna be a pretty cool character, and later on, they develop her into a character that's like really like if I were to recommend the show, she would be a really big reason for it. She is ultimately the most endearing character. She has the most distinctive trait, and she's the character that you will be rooting for the most. Or at least that's what I was thinking while watching it. Um, but yeah, it's interesting because in the end, I thought that the way it ended, it was like it was to be expected, but it was. I wish it didn't, but hey, that's kind of what you'll get out of a show like this. Um, and I wanted to touch on that topic of creating a character that is ultimately more endearing than like what the end result is supposed to be, and the end result being like the main choice, the predictable choice. And it's interesting because when you're trying to make a love story like that, it doesn't make sense. Well, I guess in some manners, if you were trying to be as realistic as possible, it does make sense. But if you're trying to captivate an audience or something like that, it's probably ultimately in better to go with the character that's ultimately more endearing, has better distinctive traits to her than one that doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. It seems kind of indecisive. Like generally, most people will like a driven character as opposed to an indecisive character. And I think that was a big issue with Just Because. If you decide to watch it, you'll understand what I mean. And it's not. I don't think it's so much a spoiler to say that it is predictable, because once you do watch it, I assume that it'll ultimately just it'll ultimately come to you like, oh yeah, it's that character. But yeah, I don't feel like the creators of the show approached it properly. But with that being said, Pine Jam, this is their second like regularly broadcasted program, and it's not a bad addition to the two that they've made so far, and then whatever OVAs they've made. Like Gamers was pretty good. This is a pretty nice like addition to it. It's not too spectacular, but it's not like terrible. Ultimately, the atmosphere wasn't too boring. The characters were all right for the most part. But yeah, just that one thing really bothered me. And I just wanted to put it into thoughts into like a video or something. So that way, if anyone wanted to hear like a recommendation from me, you'd be able to watch this video and you'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll consider it. I'll consider like the opinions on here. But yeah, that was more or less me. I do apologize if I was rambling a bit, or if I was coughing or anything. And I also apologize that this is not properly edited. I just kind of slapped this thing together. But anywho, this has been Dusty. I would probably recommend it again just for her, just for Ena Komiya. She'll be the camera girl if you decide to watch the show. And otherwise, like if you're down for like a more realistic romantic anime or something like that, this is okay. It's not too bad. Something a little charming about it, but it's not too impressionable, not terrible. So yeah, like if you want to give it a watch, I wouldn't suggest otherwise. I would probably be like, yeah, if you're interested in something like that, maybe. It's not like a go. It's not like an immediate recommendation. It's just like a watch it if you feel like it. But yeah, this has been Dusty, and I'm signing out. Later, guys. Oh.